Welcome back, everybody. It's your boy. I'm trying to. All right, y'all, my fault. I had a couple things going on. I'm back for a small chat. We're gonna be chopping it up with Adam for a little bit. That's kind of my background. It's kind of messed up. I got a bunch of stuff going on back there. Um, Cameras set up for my guests, who I should be expecting should be popping in a minute. I just want to chop it up with you guys for a little bit. Hopefully, you can hear me. I don't know. I'm trying these headphones on this phone that's connected to a couple of things. I don't know if it's working or not. Nap, if you're there, go ahead and add yourself in, and I'll bring you into it. Don't start that. Don't start that shit. uh, Add yourself, Nap, so I can bring you onto the screen. And I'll just try to explain to it once I get you on the screen. I'm not really sure if this is gonna let me do it like it was doing before I went live with it. Cause it's just been easy. It's been easy. Wow. Anyway, there you go. Okay. Hey, now before I continue, can you hear me?
Yeah.
So yeah, but see, you're not playing through my Bluetooth. I'm gonna try to do this. Can you still hear me all right, even without my Bluetooth on?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna try to roll without it because I haven't. I typically be wearing my Bluetooth when I'm doing this, but for some reason it's not letting me hear you, and I had a little concern with that because I don't know if I'll be able to hear you good enough from, from just my phone. But so far so good. Anyway, it's just been a minute since I've been live. Um, I've done a couple of lives with you guys before recently, and I I thought that I was recording on my other device, and I wasn't. So I dropped a video. It's called the Glow Plug, and it was just kind of like a little funny part of the bigger video, but I didn't get the bigger video. So I'm just gonna leave that up there for shits and giggles. I do got another video from that same day that I will be uploading here shortly. Um, Hope you guys watch it. Leave me comments on the bottom of what you think about what was being talked about, and that's pretty much what I have for you on that one. But with who I got with me, my guest on here right now, somebody who's been a little controversial a little bit from time, or can be controversial from time to time when talking about different things. Um, Recently, uh, I've noticed that it's been happening. It seems that people may have been taking some of the things that people feel a little bit more personal with me. I'm not trying to be an advocate for him because I go back and forth with him. I don't follow everything that anybody says anyway. So but I just kind of wanted to back up a little bit and kind of get to know the person a little bit on a different level, kind of get an idea of who we're dealing with because he'd be on from time to time. He stirs the pots up and gets the blood going, but I never want you to take it too personal, you know, because you'll end up missing what the whole thing is all about. You'll get wrapped up in the
I'll be
delivery.
right back. I'll be right back.
Yeah, go ahead. You'll get wrapped up in the delivery and miss the point. And this has happened a few times lately. And I just don't want that to be the bigger picture. I I don't want that to be the bigger picture. So I thought I'd have him on tonight when he got a few minutes to chop it up with. I'm trying to find a good position because when I'm sharing my screen, I can't go. I should just be on my laptop, but I'm not. Um, so I'm limited on how I can work with this camera. So it's going to be a little frustrating uh, for me, probably for you. But anyway, I do want to just take this time, take a little bit of time and kind of pick at him, a little bit, so we can kind of get the essence of who he is and why he be saying the things that he be saying. Um, because sometimes, like I said, it's a little controversial. I don't mind it myself because I'm always looking for the silver line anyway, because there's always one there to find. But and I don't mind the arguing. Sometimes a good argument is not bad, and the challenging of each other's intellect and where their minds are. This is just the name of the show is another way to see it. So I don't mind people coming on and having different views and perspectives of the subject. But when it gets to where I think that someone may, or when it comes off as if they're not getting what's being delivered, then I want to kind of intervene a little bit and kind of referee so that we don't miss it. We can still have fun. We can still go back and forth. We can still do all that. But at the end of the day, I do want my viewers and people watching to get out of it. So it's serious because we be getting into some deep stuff, and a lot of this stuff has a lot to do with how people live their life, how people what people set their life principles by. And I touch on this kind of stuff, and I'm always keeping it 100% to what I know, and I'm always willing to learn and admit when I'm wrong, and go from there. But I'm not afraid of an argument. I'm not afraid of a debate, a challenge, and I'm not afraid of being wrong. So having those characteristics, I feel comfortable here. You know, um, so I got my guts back. So the position of the camera's gonna change again, y'all. Again, I don't got all the bells and whistles that typically come with people that's been on here for a while. So I'm still kind of anyway. Enough about that. Neff, you there?
Yeah.
Cool, cool, cool. So I was just talking a little bit about
Delivery style.
yeah, and about what I'm looking to get. Now this conversation can go all kinds of ways, but the purpose, my main thing I want to get into before it gets going in, too far is what you're up to when you be coming on here. Because sometimes people get a little rowdy, they get a little frustrated, and they tend to miss what you're saying because of the way you're saying it. I don't mind the Charleston White sticker shot. I'm all right with all that because you know I'm just accustomed to all different kind of people's conversations. But and I don't mind people, like I was saying earlier before you got on there, I don't mind people arguing and debating and challenging each other's thoughts. I don't mind that. That's, iron sharpens iron. But when everyone's just throwing the iron in there because of one reason or another, I kind of want to sort things back out and give everybody a fair chance, you know, to get the most out of the conversation. So, saying all that to say this, tell them a little bit about what you be up to, man. When you be, what's your primary when you be coming on the channel, man? And then I got a few things I want to ask you.
Right. Well, the primary hopefully is you'll grow. Because I mean, if you ain't growing, I mean, shit, what's the point, right? So, but the way I engage, so I'm gonna show you my hand and shit. You ain't gonna do nothing about it anyway. So I engage people. So when I engage, I try to see where people are at. So I'll start in a certain place. I'll throw something out there. Hey, I just want to see where people's mentalities are at, where their thought process is, and honestly, where their level of education is. And that's no shade. That's just, you know, I need to speak to people in a way they can relate and understand. So that's why I do that. Because the whole thing is edification. If we're not being edified, especially when we're talking about certain theological aspects, then, I mean, what's the point, right? So in these arenas. So that's how I engage people. I'll see where they're at. I'll throw certain things out. If they don't understand certain things, I'll lower it. If they do, I'll raise the bar a little bit. And as far as my delivery, that just, I guess, depends on the day. But ultimately, I say provocative things for engagement, right? Because if I come in the manner of, let's just say, a boring ass pastor, I mean, come on, man. Nobody's watching CBN on this motherfucker. I mean, who's watching CBN? Nobody, right?
Right.
So I'm going to speak provocatively to get you engaged. I'm going to challenge certain positions to get you involved. And I'm going to use expletives, which means cussing. If you want to if I say fuck, that's an expletive, right? I'm going to use expletives to get your emotions riled up, so that way you'll stay with me. Because if I'm talking like the nun, you're gonna lose interest quick, fast, and it's over. But if I'm willing to engage with you on those levels, then you're gonna be engaged. And if I can get your emotions riled up, you're gonna push back and fight back. And next thing you know, we done spent 7 hours in the scriptures, and I win overall. Y'all wins. Because the normality, nobody's getting in the scriptures for 7, 8, 9 hours. It's called tactics. But if I get you in a certain way, riled up and going and pushing back and forth, now I don't agree with this, why you don't agree? Then you start going in the text, well, this, that, well, what about this? What about that? And the whole point is we're up in that text for hours and hours without even realizing how much time is going by. So, that's but overall the reason is, I want us to grow, because everybody got a Bible in the house, but most of the time it's just used for a paperweight or just to feel good about life, but nobody really gets up in it. So, I challenge.
Okay. All right. I noticed in there you mentioned that sometimes you use these different tactics to get people to
Yeah,
engage. And so, but one thing which is fine, that's fine. But one thing that stood out is at the end of that, you said that God, and what I was getting out of it was that God wins. God.
yeah,
So, so So that brings me to the question: what what do you believe in? What, because I'm trying to see if your motive. I'm saying if, based off what I'm understanding you saying, if your motive is to rile the people up and get and be provocative to get them all going crazy and something, and because that will sustain the conversation, and out of that you can drag it out. Well, not drag it out is probably not the best word, but it can last much longer if the linguistics are more provocative, as if they were the mundane minister using the practical terms in the conversation, right?
Yeah,
But at the end of it, you're saying that God wins. So there's something that you're getting out of it by doing it as well, which is fine. We're all after something. But just what is that thing that you're after?
that I'm after.
In the terms that I'm using it. In other words, what do you believe in? What is motivating you to do that?
I got you. Well, it's not what I believe in. It's what I know. You know, we're past the belief in uh, the spooky, how you want to say, mysticisms and all of that. This is what I know. This is fact. These are facts. And so, and let's. I'm just gonna be clear. I don't always do. I don't always speak provocatively with expletives and all of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of times, but it just depends on the crowd. And I don't want to say with certain crowds I speak provocative. I speak provocative quite often, but what I'm saying is, you know, the crowd kind of dictates, who I'm speaking to kind of dictates which way I go with it. If I'm talking to a child, I'm probably not gonna say bitch and shit. You know, if I'm talking to somebody who says bitch and shit, well then I'm probably gonna say it back. You know what I mean? And I've had certain people within the cloth, the clergy, whatever you want to say, who don't like expletives, and asked me, have petitioned me to not use those when I speak to them. Now, overall, I'm not gonna negate my liberty for nobody else, but I will be mindful, right? Because at the end of the day, shit, I'm a man and I'm gonna speak how I want to speak and I'm gonna say what I want to say, whether you like it or don't like it. And that's just the reality of what I now. This is what I believe is pertains to man shit. People gonna say what they want to say when they want to say it, how they want to say it. And society ain't worried about offending me when they want to make a point. So it is what it will be. But nonetheless, to get back on track, you know, I'm considerate of how people, want to engage. So I'm not always acting in that manner. But
You don't get me wrong. I don't mind the 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 explicit dialogue. I engage in shit talking. I mean, you can get me involved. Depends on what we're, it does have everything to do with what we're talking about and how things are being delivered that day or
mm-hmm.
in the conversation. I can engage in some of that activity as well. And I understand I'm not asking you to defend why. We were just asking you why. What's that?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I got you. What I
Wait.
know,
Here. But I do want you to, I want to segue back to the question though. I understand
yeah,
why we're cool with that. I understand why we're cool with that. But I'm trying to get to the first because I got a few questions lined up here that I want to get to. Um, and so I don't want to spend too much time on you. You don't got to vindicate. I'm just trying to give you an opportunity to introduce your motive.
Yeah.
I
Well, as
don't
far
want
as what I believe in, it's not really belief, it's what I know, right?
to.
Testable, provable aspects. And so I know, yeah, and that's a bold claim. Some people would refer to it as God, uh, whatever you want to say. I'm going to say, yeah, I'm going to say Elohim. That's who I know. That's who I serve. So that's who I bow the knee to. No one else gets a knee bow, right? Um, but as far as to answer your question, you said who I believe or what do I believe? It's not what I believe, it's what I know at this point. And I know, yeah. So
Who is that?
that's who people would refer to as God in the neo-Christian realm. God, Jesus, because they believe Jesus is God and all this other crap. But uh, that's who people. I guess mainstream society would refer to as God, right? I serve God. I believe in God. Yeah, I mean, uh, that's how they would speak. I'm more specific because well, who is God? What is God? Right? Be more specific. Because if you claim to know somebody, you should at least know their name, right? You should know who they are, their attributes, what they like, what they don't like. And you talk to these religious organizations and you begin to probe just a little bit, and they start stuttering and giving you all these metaphors and the birds and the bees and the dogs and the cats type of stuff. I'm gonna be specific. So, yep, his name, this entity or deity who exists outside of space and time, who does not no form of creation can contain this entity. So, see now I don't want to go too far because that's shooting over people's minds, really. But what I'm gonna say is what's known to us as far as in this realm is Yah. That's the name of who most neo Christians and people would say is God.
Well, okay. Well, I don't want to uh, underestimate the level of intelligence that my audience may have. So I I don't want to throw out the
The floor is open. We can go anywhere. I'm trying not to go. I'm trying to remain in the question, right? So you said, so that's the answer.
I mean you stated that you didn't want to get into it because it's going to go over people's minds, but that's what I'm saying. You don't. Yeah, I don't even know who all could watch it. Could be watching this channel, and I don't want to be insulting to others. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know the intellect or the level of knowledge that somebody is watching it may or may not have. That's a pretty strong statement to say that it can go over the minds. Because you just don't know what people know until we know it. Until we know that they know it. Like you know what I'm saying? Kind of like what we.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't know what we're talking about till they hear what we're saying. But and you said something. You said, "What is God?" Elaborate on that a little bit because now you told me the name and you gave me an idea of what I can so I can understand what it is you're referring to is what most people call God or God as you put it. Uh, and I don't think that you're using it in the same contents that people that call it God, otherwise you would call it God. So there's something that's distinguished, that's different in what you're calling it and what most people are calling it. Because again, you made that distinct that difference kind of stand out with that statement. And you followed it up with what is God, but you never told me what it was. So now that I know who it is, tell me what it is. Oh no, you may have froze up there. The screen certainly did. Give them a minute. Give them a minute to get back in because I kind of want to know what it is. I kind of want to know what it is calling this. Give him a fair chance. Looks like he's going to probably try to hop back in. I'm going to give him a minute. Because I think that's important for us to know what it is that he's referring to. Because a lot of times we think commonly, like he was saying, most people would refer to what God would be in the most common terms. But he didn't use the name that, y'all remember what I told you about my camera. He didn't use the name that that most people would use. But he did say that it's like that, but he didn't go into what that is. And I kind of want him to. I'm gonna kind of press him to a little bit when he comes back, so I can have an understanding um, because I really don't know what makes what he's saying or calling, other than the name, different than the idea that others are using with the common term. I want to give him a fair chance to come back and answer that. And the reason why I'm doing this, you guys, is to give you guys an opportunity. Well, to give him an opportunity to let you guys know where he be coming from. Because sometimes I let him on here and he just goes bananas, right? He's going in on everything. But I understand. I get it. I get what he's saying, the terms he's using, the reasons behind it. I follow a lot of the information that he's referring to, and so I get it. But and his delivery doesn't bother me. I can give two shits about how he says it, as long as YouTube don't get mad about it. And I'm getting no strikes or no issues or have anything like that with these guys. I don't care how they explain it. As long as I can understand what the hell they're talking about. Because right now I don't. I don't know what could be different from what he's talking about than from what you're talking about. Because something else while I'm waiting on him. Something else I noticed. This could be kind of this conversation can actually kind of turn into something kind of touchy because I'm a pick his scab a little bit. I'm gonna pick his scab a little bit because what, people get so emotionally involved in things that's going on today to where they tend to lose. Hold on, now. Hold on, y'all. Give me 3 minutes. Give me 3 minutes. I'll be right back. Sorry about that, you guys. I'm back. I don't think that we're. All right, hold on. Let me get the line exactly where I was at. All right, here we go.
Sorry about that. My phone died, so I can no longer provide the excellent view of running down this road, but we can still get to where we're trying to go.
For sure, for sure, for sure. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. I just talked the air off until you got back.
Yeah, no, we good though. We solid. So in all reality, man, um, your last question. What was your last question? You asked me. What was it? What was God, or what was the question?
You were just getting ready to explain to us who God is. That you
You
no,
said
but you
what?
didn't. You was getting ready to explain to us who Yahweh is.
Who Yah is?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, but yeah, that's what you said. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Well,
uh,
here, let me catch you back up. Because remember, we were just talking about why you want the engagement to last because you say God gets the glory or Yah gets the glory. So I was like, all right, so you have a primary, you have a motive, right? So I
yeah,
was asking you who that motive was, and you were distinguishing the difference in the name, and we established that. But what I was trying to get you to do, or what I was asking you, was what is the difference? Why is it relevant if I call it if it's called that or this if you refer to it as it being what others call something else? You understand what I'm saying?
yeah. I know what you're saying. Okay. So. See, now I'm ready. It's okay. See, no, we about to make this on. We about to get it going right here, right now. So I'm gonna need you to do me a favor and just separate yourself from this. I'm not talking to you when I'm speaking. All right, we good?
I'm good.
Okay. Let me call you bitch then. If the name doesn't matter, let me call you whatever I want, and you answer to that. Or do names not matter? Are names important? If you know who I am, you call me by my name. Some people have nicknames because you're known in that fashion. Some people have personal names. Some niggas don't even know the real name. They only know the nickname given because you're running in the streets. And then some people who are more intimate, personal, like your parents or your family members, not only gonna know call you by your first name, but they might call you by another nickname that only they know because that was the nickname they had for you as a child. So to just say why call it whatever, whoever, what does it matter? Well, okay, then let me just call you. No, I was gonna say something crazy. Let me not do that. But let,
I,
let
I get what you're saying, but I also get the I'm kind of getting you're kind of reiterating the name, but I'm trying to get into the other parts of the W's. You know what I mean? I want to know. I understand there's a reason why the name is. Yeah, I got several different names. I wear a lot of different hats. I get it, but I'm saying,
okay, maybe I misunderstood what you're saying.
yeah, what I'm trying to ask you, what this is based on what you were saying. Who is Yah? Who is?
Who is ya? Okay. All
Who is?
right. Well,
I'm just. We cool with the
who?
name.
I
That's
got
cool.
you.
Who?
Okay, segueing into who is the most high.
Oh yeah, whatever you're calling it, or you know what I'm trying to say.
No, it is perfectly fine. See,
What are you
that's
referring to?
you know, you
What is?
said something you right. I got you. So I mean, ultimately, man, the greatest expression is love. Because, and I say that that sounds mundane. That sounds, I don't know what you want to call it, boring, regular, whatever. The programmed answer, but in all actuality, that's what he's revealed himself to us to be. Because I mean, by his standards, by this deity standards, we're all fucked. We're all should be dead. There's a warrant out for our death that he's chosen not to execute, and the reason why he's chosen not to execute it is because he, he loves and cares about. I don't want to just say me and you as a person or people. I want to say he cares about his creation, everything he made. So he didn't make it to just destroy it. But and I'm going ahead, but I'll pull back like a wave, right? So jumping ahead like a wave, you know, he don't deal with sin, and that's just the reality of it. And to kill sin, to kill sin, sometimes you got to kill the host of sin, and that's people. Sometimes where it back and just happens to, but pulling back though to come back to the love part of things, we're really all here because of those things. Everything you are, every people, all those attributes come from the one who made us in his image. So if you really want to know who Yah is, uh, no, that's not the right way to say it. I would say you, if you really want to know who Yah is, you got to get in that word. And this is where the pushback's going to come. You got to get in that word. It was put there for us to try our best to understand this deity that exists outside of space and time.
Okay, if you say it's equivalent or the same as love, or it is love, why can't it be just called love?
Because that's not enough.
Like you said, the names, right? I get it. You know, you got your painter, your plumber, your electrician. All these are different tradesmen, right? But a carpenter can be all of them. So let's say you have your carpenter who's you need some electricity work done. Well, the carpenter should be able to take care of that. You need some framework, the carpenter should be able to. But it's all the same person, but he is getting called these different names for these different purposes. If that's what you were, if that's how you were saying, that name called that the name is necessary to get it right. If you don't call a plumber, if you got an electrical issue, it, it, this is why you're saying that the name that you got to get the name right. If I'm understanding you right, that's the relevance or the importance of why you need to get the name right, because you could be calling an electrician for a painter position, right? That wouldn't work out. So it doesn't. So I would imagine this would still be the you're referring to now. Now I'm going to go out on a limb and say that because you didn't mention that it has anything to do with the creation or the creator or the beginning of anything. You gave me some of its characteristics. I'm trying to figure out. You're saying this is also the creator of life.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Definitely. The creator of all things. Um, and a lot of people understand them and know them differently through different channels, I would say. But the reality is, there's only one way. Because this what kills me, right? This kills me. When people want to know,
Sorry.
or they have not necessarily questions, but pretty much they'll say, "Okay, I believe in God," right? Whatever. I'm just setting up a little stage here,
All right.
and then they see something in the text that's clear. In Hebrew, we call it the Peshat, right? Clear, plain interpretation. And they start speaking Fred Flintstone. Yeah, but, they need to add the dabba-doo after that. Yeah, but dabba-doo, right? Because then it starts getting ridiculous from there. You see what it says, and then you come with the yeah, but this is what it means to me. This is how I see it, how I believe it to be. When that is not, you're missing you're gonna miss everything every time doing it that way. It's like if you, right, as the host, you wrote out a plan to say, I'm gonna turn the camera on, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna present my autobiography, right? And this is my life, right? You're the author, you're the one giving the context, you're the one giving the time frames, the scenarios, the situations, how you thought, how you felt, how you reacted, what you did, what you overcame, all the things, right? And then somebody has the audacity to get your presentation and start to go through it and say, yeah, but he's not really saying that. This is what I think it's saying, or this is what I believe, or this is how I take that. When you're clear cutting how you're presenting it, it's like, dude, perfect example. You're a boss, you run jobs. You say, hey, this is how you put a window in. You give the instructions. If they follow those instructions, that window will come out perfect, customer satisfied. But if they deviate at any point, there might be a gap inside it. There might be wind getting in because it wasn't sealed. There might be some rain getting in because it wasn't sealed properly. There's something that's going to be off because the directions weren't followed. And then you come back later and say, dude, what's going on with this? I gave you the instructions. I laid it all out. And they say, yeah, but I needed to shave off a couple hours. So I did it like this. But doing it like this is wrong. It's incorrect. Now we got to take this whole thing back down and redo it again. Right. So this is what tends to happen a lot across the board. People want to go off their own interpretations of who they believe God is and how they feel God is to them. And one of the greatest motives that I've come to find out is every time you start opening that word and holding that up to show his image, people love to start telling you about their personal experiences. Oh, well, I was in a closet somewhere and I left my body and I saw God and he told me this, or hey man, I overdosed on drugs and saw God and came back and this is what I had. They want to do everything but go with what he actually gave us concretely that we
Where,
can actually test and prove.
where are you getting your data from that's telling you what he said?
From the biblical text, what we would call the modern day Bible.
So you're getting it from the same source that the others are getting it from, but they're just getting it wrong. If I'm gathering what you're saying,
Yeah,
is
we
it
could. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
is it Is it an interpretation situation?
That's what I was explaining. That's the problem. Yes.
Primarily, it's an interpretation situation. All right, but the motive behind it, whether it's fully understood or not, is still or is it still equivalent? Put it this way: if I was
No, and no,
reading,
I got your answer. No, it's not equivalent because the fact is you either get it right or you get it wrong.
what
Like
if
the
I
window scenario.
what if I hadn't got enough information to determine if it's right or if it's wrong? This is one of my own personal issues I got. I don't got enough information to determine if any of it is one or the other. So I got to play it safe on how I assess things. But this ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm just putting my, putting myself out there, being a little uh,
Yeah.
parent. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, because if it's not, if my motive is to get it right, then if I didn't have enough data to do that with that whole window of my attempts, I think would be equivalent to one that has succeeded.
No.
Because what is the one that succeed does? He just continues on up another challenge.
Well,
You know,
it's simply like it's the course of life. Because if we use that terminology, it doesn't work because that's life. What are you gonna do about it? You're born into this world not knowing shit. You know nothing. Everything you know is dependent upon what your parents know and what they're willing to teach you. You don't even know how to feed yourself until they show you how to do that. So life, you don't know, you're lacking, and you put yourself to educate, being educated, so you can gain the skills you need to become an adult, to become successful, right? So you press towards learning. You're lacking in knowledge. You don't know how to read. What do? You go to school. You don't know how to do math. You go to school. You start seeking after the knowledge to be able to get to the level of where, like I said, overall, you can successfully operate as an adult and take care of yourself.
but that is
So
enough.
it's the same principle,
Not everybody,
huh?
not everybody knows the importance of that, though.
Hey, but see, guess what though? It's called free will. It's free will, man. It's free will. You have the choice. So when it comes to the scriptures, right? When it comes to the text, right? You Nobody knows enough. We all start not knowing enough to serve Elohim, to know who he is. Our knowledge of how to approach and deal and serve him is insufficient. So we fail, right? But the goal is, which is part of the whole outside of a redemptive narrative from Genesis to Revelation, there's a call for learning, right? To learn diligently, just like we have to learn everything in life. Everything you had to learn, even how to speak. So when it comes to the same thing, you have to do the same thing. You have to learn. And if you don't have enough knowledge, that's your choice. Because I guarantee you, this is what I tell people all the time. People do what they want to do. And I give a scenario of even homeless people. If you, you wonder, you see these homeless men and women, which is really not good, but they're homeless, but yet they're on drugs. And you have to, it's like, wow, that drug's not free. They had to buy that drug, but yet they have nothing, but somehow they had money to get that drug. So if you take that scenario, they have no nothing, right? But they were able, because they want to do the drug, to get up, make some money, however they made it, to go purchase that drug, because that's what they want to do. So if you really want to know who Elohim is, that's what you're going to do. And it's going to take some studying and it's going to take some dedication, just like everything else in life does. But you'll get there. So when people lack the information, the proper knowledge, you know, from where I'm at, it's one of two ways. You're either on your way, you're either really trying and you're seeking. And when you're doing that, man, I'll open up and I'll show you some deep stuff. But when it is just this is what I was told and I'm cool with that, you know what I'm saying? The blind leading the blind, I just,
But
not very much effort and this is my ideology about God, then that's your choice. No problem.
but what makes playing devil's advocate here? What makes your studies right?
The fact the well, I said it right there. The simple point that it's testable, it's a fact. There are it's not even that it's my point, it's just that I've aligned myself with provable facts, right? I mean, in the text, and I'm not pulling it out because you saw what I was doing, but the text tells you, try me, see that I am good, right? Try me, right? So the text tells you to try it. It even tells you try every spirit, right? Now these are metaphors, but because you can't try a spirit, but nonetheless, the what it's trying to point across to you is what's being presented can be proven. You know, the scriptures tells you in Romans 1:20 that all things, even the eternal Godhead, can be understood, right? I'm paraphrasing. The unseen, even the eternal Godhead, by can be understood by the things that we can see. So we can use the things that's right in front of us to understand the things that we can't see, even the eternal Godhead, so that they are without excuse. There's no excuse. And why is there no excuse? Because any human on earth can determine whether something is true and factual or not. If I say the sky is pink, or I want to say that's a bad example. If I say the sky is, I don't know, give me a give me a color. I mean, the sky be turning all different types of colors. But just for the sake of the conversation, we're gonna say it's blue. It's predominantly blue. And then I go out and say, hey man, the sky is what I'm saying, brown. Well, you can look up and see that it's not brown. So I made a statement. This is my thesis. The sky is brown. You went outside and opened the door and looked up and seen it's blue. So you're able to determine that's not a fact. That's false. The sky is blue, right? So we're dealing with facts, things that can be tested and proven. I'm not dealing with the spooky mysticism and all of that. I'm dealing with the factual actuals. That's
Well, I,
why it's not mine, but it is.
I know one just to give you another way to see this real quick.
Mhm.
I'm one that would say in a dust storm, the sky is brown.
Yeah, and that's why I said this is a bad example because I get you, but
So what
yeah,
I'm saying is, isn't it expected for everyone's belief to that has followed to their best of their knowledge what their book is telling them to do to deem themselves in the same position that you're in?
say that last part, isn't it? Say that last part again.
I'm saying it wouldn't it be fair for them to deem themselves in the same position that you're in?
No, no. Just like it wouldn't be fair for me to deem myself in the position that they're in. No, it wouldn't be fair. Like I said, people do what they want to do. I want to know who the father is. Now, see, there's a different name, but see, that's a little bit more personal. In Hebrew, we would say Abba, right? Father. So, you know, I want to know. I want to know who my creator is, why he created me, and what he expects. And so picking the Bible up, reading it, okay, there's a lot of stuff in here that just doesn't quite add up. There's some things that seem to go against what it said before. So having an inquisitive mind, you start to question these things and ask questions and seek knowledge and see what's going on. And you ask this person and realize after a while, well, he ain't got it right. And you go to this person. So then eventually you have to, if you're taking it serious, you have to get serious with it and open up the vault. I would say open the vault up and get serious about digging. But if you're not and you just want to feel better about the way you live, then you go to church on Sunday. You go to church on Sunday, you sit back, you listen to Pastor Porkchop, and you go home and continue with whatever lifestyle you're living. Because it makes you feel better about it. That's all.
Okay. I got a question. Is it possible that you could be wrong?
Definitely. It's possible I could be wrong.
What is that possibility based on? What is that possibility based on?
The possibility is based on me not having studied it enough. So in the areas that I'm still learning in, because I'm still a student, right? Those are it's put it like this. It's like a combat sport, right? And when I'm in the gym, that's where I can practice at. That's where I can make my mistakes. That's where I can throw the hook and be critiqued on, no, the hook, you need to throw it like this. You're throwing it too wide or whatever the situation may be. That's a private setting, right? When I'm in public, when I go out to fight my opponent, right, all that needs to be together. So anything that I say publicly and speaking on publicly has to be game tight. It's got to be something that people can test, something that they can go back and try themselves and get an outcome that's gonna align with the truth, and that's just simply facts, right? So that has to be tight.
I got a question. Something just came to my way of thinking, so to speak. Have you ever had God in a dream?
Have I had him in a dream?
You ever had God in a dream? Yeah.
I'm not really sure what you mean by that.
All right. Because everybody's perspective of God is going to be different. That's why I can't iterate too much on that. But what I'm saying is, like, and I don't mean to use God in your terms, that may seem unaligning, but because you're calling Yahweh, right? Or Yah. Have you ever like you're talking to me about it, about the practices and the books and the reading and the studies and there's various things we've probably been talking a half hour or something about. Yeah. So just in any of these ways that that you've displayed in ways of engagement, however that is, has any of this ever transpired in a dream?
I would have to, if I'm understanding what you're saying, I would have to say no.
So has other things that you've dealt with here on where we're at right now, that's on this side of the dream, where we are engaging in different things, and you have uncles and brothers and jobs and
Hmm.
trucks to drive. Has anything on this side ever showed up in a dream?
I got you. Ah. Hey, hey, you're pretty good. You're pretty good. You're pretty good. You know what I'm saying? You're pretty good. I got you. See, so he okay. So we don't turn nothing down. So here's the reality, right? Let's snap it back to reality, May.
that's that's not that's not that's not my intent. I'm just trying to
No, it's
distinguish.
okay. Come on. We do the interview, but
I
you
think
know,
it came to me as I was sitting there. I just thought about that. That's why I just hold on. I kind of cut you off when I thought about it. You know, because sometimes
yeah.
I think outside the box. I imagine or whatever. But yeah, that's
Nah,
what.
don't give me time to think. Let me be on the chopping block. Come on now.
So all right. So where I was going with this is because I think your answer was going to be yeah. You can name several
Nah,
different.
nah, nah.
Yeah,
Oh no, we don't run.
I think you
We
can
don't
answer.
run.
I wasn't trying to debate. I was just trying to. I just
Ah, come on now. Nah,
because,
let me,
what you're
I answer it.
explaining to me, because what you're explaining to me just kind of led me into that way of thinking. So
That's fine. That's perfect.
I was just,
Beautiful.
I'm,
See,
I'm,
what I
I'm
don't get into is people's experiences.
yeah, I'm
You
not,
know,
yeah, I'm not authenticating anything. I'm just, that's why I was just because I have it, and I thought, how weird was that? Because it from this side, it's the most substantial thing, and things that are less substantial, I recall even. I'm not authenticating anything. I'm just realizing something, and I guess it just happened.
well, I got a question. I got a question. And the question is, was it God or did you ascribe it to God? Did you give, yeah, that's the perfect word. Was it actually God or did you ascribe it to Him to say that was God?
Did what was?
Just anything. People's experience. People have experiences and they'll be like, oh man, that was God looking out for me. But was it though? Was it?
Well,
Or did you just put
it,
that on God?
it was when I said it was, but that's all I knew it to be when that's all I was eligible to. So that's all I was eligible to call it because that's all I knew it to be. But as I learned what it was I was calling that, I realized that's probably not the best thing to do.
So therein lies my point. When you get into those scenarios, that's nothing I can test. I can't tell you no, it ain't, or yeah, it is. For the most part, just for the context of the question, right?
Hmm.
That's something you deem to be God. But in reality, was it really God? People just say that all the time. Oh man, that was God. Was it really though? You know, like let
Yeah,
me flip the script. Let me
you're,
flip the script.
you're right. Absolutely, no cap.
Let me flip the script, right? People go through adversities, right? And then, oh man, the devil, that was a demon, or the devil's attacking me or trying me. But is he though really? But is he though really? Right? Everybody want to always blame the devil. And I would argue the devil's not concerned with attacking you at all. He don't even need to do that. I would even go further to argue the devil's not attacking you. I would go even further to say the demons are attacking you. Why would I say that? Because it's like this. It's like saying, if we're talking about the devil, the king himself, obviously the devil's not the king, but just follow me. The king is coming up off his throne ship to come and harass you personally. No, that's not happening. So if the devil is the chief of the demons in this context, he's not coming to deal with you personally. If he has demonic minions that can come deal with you, for one. So let's get the devil out the way for right this second. And then when it comes to demons uh harassing you or whatever, I will beg to differ because you know, a demon didn't make you do whatever it is that you did to feel like it was bad, right? You made that choice. You know, a demon didn't grab your hand and make you do whatever that thing is that you would deem is bad, right? You did that. So what I will say is he already did his job, which would I would say is he set up a system. He sowed a seed of iniquity of rebelliousness within humanity that we all suffer from. It's a disease because now we're naturally inclined to be adverse to Elohim's system and to be an enemy of who Elohim is naturally. And then he set up a system that advocates to all of our weaknesses, whatever that may be. See, sin is a pimp. Sin is a pimp. Whatever you want, sin, the pimp got for you. I mean, you like lewd sexual acts? Yeah, don't worry. I got that for you right over here. Oh, you like violence? Oh, don't worry. We got some of that over here. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is that you may be inclined to, the system that's been set up by Hallel will provide for you. And so I don't need to personally come after you when I have a system that'll do it for me. The systems that I built the system, it's in play. And now whatever sinful inclinations you have, the system has to offer. And you make the choice whether you want to indulge in it or not. I don't need to personally come out there and do it. I've already done my job. Now I'm chilling. So that's why I would argue in a nutshell, man, the devil ain't attacking you. Now the system he built is so you can accredit it to him in that sense. But him physically, the devilish spirit popping up and Satan being there and doing all, nah, hell no. They don't need to do that. You know, if anything, he would be dealing more directly with the powers that rule. Just like if you look at the biblical text, you don't see the devil himself really messing with nobody. But when Christ came on the scene, oh, you see Satan directly trying to get at Christ, right? So if anything, he's going to be dealing with the highest of the high echelon that's controlling the system and implementing it. And his demonic minions are going to be with the people upholding it. But as far as, you know, these little guys, you and me, nah, the system is the system. Our job is to resist our inclinations of weakness and stand strong, right? And it happens all the time. You're driving down the road, you see a billboard with a Snickers on it. You wasn't thinking about no Snickers, but all of a sudden, guess what you want? A Snickers. And you swing by 7-Eleven, grab you a Snickers, and you eat it and satisfied and you move on. No harm, no foul. But the system just broke you for $2.50 that you wasn't thinking about spending because it told you you wanted a Snickers, and now all of a sudden you want a Snickers. Now you didn't have to engage in it. You might, and you might want to, but there's no store on your way to the house, and by the time you get to the house, you're like, ah, fuck it. But if the opportunity presents itself and you want it, guess where you're at? The store getting the Snickers because the system told you that uh you wanted a Snickers. So that's what I would more argue and have proof of versus the devil showed up, man, and you know what I'm saying, jumped in my body and made my head spin around 3 times, and I was crawling backwards up a wall, slobbering on myself. Yeah,
You said that there's a chance that you can be wrong, right?
mm-hmm.
And that was
Now I said
from,
that on purpose. Now come on with it.
yeah, you said that there's a chance that you can be wrong based on you have not existed long enough to gather enough information. Was I getting that right?
Yeah, yeah, of course you have to give that some leeway.
All right. So do you think that one can be the being that's you or one that have ever lived long enough to have gotten it right?
Has anyone lived long enough to have gotten it right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Of
Has,
course,
has anyone lived long enough to have gathered enough information to have gotten it right?
definitely. Why? Because they wanted to do that.
And how would you know that they've gotten that right? What is your evidence that what they did paid off what they said it would pay off?
Well, and that's a
I
beautiful
guess,
question.
I guess
I'm
what
really glad you asked that.
I guess what I'm asking is how do you know the check cleared?
Yeah, yeah. And I'm really glad you asked that actually, because here's the thing. See, the text comes with promises, right? It comes with promises. So when you begin to see those promises manifest in people's existence, that's how you know the check cleared. See, but you're only going to know what those promises are, those benefits, right? Those payouts are if you study the text, right? But let's just say we all know what the benefits are. The payment is okay, cool. When I see those manifest, I know you got it. And let's go to a real life example. On a Friday, when I see you and you got a pocket full of cash and you're walking out of the bank with your work clothes on, I know you got paid. I don't have to wonder if you got paid. I see you, you're in your work clothes. I see you coming out the bank. You got a receipt and you got some cash. I know you got paid. It's Friday and I know this is your payday.
That's kind of dealing with the possibility of you being wrong again. What you're answering is something that you can't be wrong about. So
My
that's
answer is
why,
something you can't be wrong about.
yeah, because I'm asking you, and I think you were giving me an example that was kind of not aligning with what I was asking because I'm asking her, put it like this. People say you do enough push-ups, gotta be happy you go to heaven, right? But you gotta do exactly like it says, right? You're saying, yeah, this it's true. If you do, one can live long enough to absorb enough or obtain enough data to where they can do and get the benefits of after you die to go ahead and get the benefits. So I'm saying, what do you have as an exhibit that the check cleared if it was in the person's name that died? With me?
Oh no, it kicked me off.
That's okay. Anyway, I think it's kind of relevant. The question is kind of relevant, so I didn't want to just bypass it because
No, let's not bypass it. Let's deal with it.
Yeah, because a lot of people say that if the Bible reads, you do everything right, then you get to go to heaven. Just in a speed read, right? You do
Yeah.
everything right, you get to go to heaven. I'm
Mhm.
asking what, and the only way I'm understanding you can do everything right is if you obtained all the information and did everything that it tells you to do to be considered doing everything right. Right? There's a guideline to what everything right is. It's not our own idea of what right is when we're talking about this. This is a set of rules of right or wrong. And if you do everything that says right, you get the reward. You get the end result. You get to go to heaven, you get to cash the check or whatever the go get the $200, whatever the deal is. If you hold your end of it up, you should be honored with the promise or with the purpose. You know what I'm trying to say? So
Yeah.
so this is why I asked, do you think, because I've asked this question to people and I get different answers, but do you think one can live long enough to obtain all the information that is required for you to do it right? And you said the answer is yeah. So
Definitely.
so and then that's why I was asking you. So if I did everything right and then I died, I should have gotten everything that it says that you get. I'm asking, what is the evidence? What do we have as an exhibit to say this is an exhibit, or what we have as an evidence that we can say this is an exhibit of the reward that you get for doing it right. You know what I'm trying to say?
Right. Right. Because obviously, if you're dead, how do I know if you with the heaven or not? Right. How do I
Right.
know what you did? I got what you said, but the
Go ahead.
reality of it is it's not just if we're speaking in context, the heaven part.
I'm just speaking
That's
in the rest is
yeah, that's
arguing.
like the cherry on top,
Yeah,
right? But the promises
for it, though.
that you
You're going.
get now, huh?
Is it that the goal is to complete the race?
Well, yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah.
But if
I
you're
see
running,
it
wouldn't it be
down
nice?
here.
How you
Right.
doing?
Yeah. Well, we're alive. I get all that. But what I don't get is how does one know what happens when we're not no more alive? What does one what does one know? Not believe. What does one know that this is what it is?
Please. Uh, well, it's like this: you're running a race, right? And the race has cones. Uh, it's directing you in which way you're gonna go. And along the race, there might be tables where you can get some water to refresh yourself, right? And I'm using this context. Sorry, it might be a little loud. I'm using this context in theory for the question, but the reality is this. It's like there's checks along the way, right? If you want to say in the context you're speaking, there's checks and balances along the way. So if I'm running, right, I'm on my way, I'm going, well, I'm going to just speak frank. I'm not even going to do it like that. I'm going to just say it like this. You do what it says. The text says, hey, listen, I got this for you. But the only way to get this is if you do what I'm asking you to do, right? So in reality, what should happen is if you are doing what the text says, then you should have the physical things that it's promising for you to do. And that's just the reality of what it is, right? So
Yeah.
if
And I get that from this side. I get that as these worldly evidence or earthly, however you want to try not to be too secular with it, but I get, I get, I
are
get
you
that.
asking me specifically? Okay, right. So this is how you know, right? Because if it's like this, if it's like, hey, you gonna go to this place. Once if you do everything correctly, this is the end result, right? And it's like, well, how can I test that unless I die, right? So you need some reassurances, some guarantees along the way to know if this is for real or if this is some bullshit, right? So the text says, okay, I understand that. So listen, if you do this, then I'll do this, right? You dig this ditch, you give me eight, or you build this deck for me, I give you $250, right? So there's the start of it. Build the deck, you paying the 250. That goes on for a while. Okay, now paint the house, I give you 1,000. They paint the house, I give you 1,000. After a while, the relationship gets to a point where you don't even have to be there. You can just call them up. Hey, man, I got this job. I'll give you the job. Instead of giving you half now and half when we're done, just do the job and I'll take care of you on Wednesday. At this point, you no longer have to wonder and question, man, you gonna pay me? What's going on? Is this real or not? You already know, man, I dealt with this guy for years. He's always paid me when he said he was gonna pay me. He never not paid me. So you are fully confident and persuaded to go over there, paint the house, not see you, and not get $1 until a week later when the job is already done and you on something else because of the track record. You have to trust the person giving you the message. So this is the context of the biblical text, right? It's saying, okay, we're talking about heaven in this context. You ain't gonna get there till you pass away. So let me give you some things now along the way to prove to you who I am. So if you go this way, you turn right, you're gonna find a cup of water. You go that way, there's the water. And then if you go over there, you're gonna find a seed. So you go up the street, boom, you hit a left, there's the seed. Now, if you go to this field over here at this address and you plant it, it's gonna grow this tree that produces nothing but money. You go there, you plant it, all of a sudden the tree grows and it's producing nothing but money. Shit, you gonna be, yeah, what else is there? So this is how one can know, have the evidence, have the how you say the proof in the putting along the way, because we're given reassurances on what's right and what's not right. So if the text says go this way and do that, and what's I don't have the result that I should have from doing what it said, then I know I did something incorrect and I gotta adjust what I'm doing. Just like the house paint scenario, you painted it. Well, I wasn't able to give you all of it because you missed a spot, or we got to redo this portion, so the customer didn't pay me all the way. So let's adjust this. Let's fix this part of the house. Now it's fixed. Okay, boom. Now I got the full payment. Now I can give you the payment.
Yeah, I get it, but it's still, you would still have to believe you're going to get that final, because you have only, and there's nothing wrong with that, and there's nothing wrong with, what you running through the tape, running a race, and you got to break through the tape. When you break through the tape, you win. It's not like you get to the tape and it don't break. Yeah, when you get to it, that's it. But that's what we're experiencing in our time. Anything that, for me, I'd have to believe what I don't know. And I can't know it without, most things I can't know. I don't know anything I can know without believing it first, anyway. So,
Yeah, but is there a point where you can know something? Can something become a known fact that started out as a belief?
absolutely.
Okay, then. So we're on the same track, right?
At least right there we are. Yeah. Because,
Okay. All right,
yeah,
that's all I'm trying to say. Because I mean, the reality of it is we do that all the time.
yeah, it
I,
can be, but it's not until it is, though, either.
But how does it become that? Because you believe it to be so first.
That's fine, and that's fine. But
It's like a job.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, you believe that this job is gonna be good for you. It's gonna get your bills paid. It's gonna do this. So then you fill out the application. You
yeah.
go to work. They pay you, and now you know you're gonna get paid as long as you show up to do the job.
And
There's
you
no more
agree?
belief.
There you go. We on the same channel with that. You don't need to
So
continue.
that's the same way this works. It
But
starts with a belief, and
but
then when you begin to investigate it and
but
get the results from it, it turns into a know-how.
yeah, but I'm gonna believe I'm gonna get paid from the job up until I get paid. Once I get
Yeah,
paid, I'm
but
gonna believe. I don't need to believe it anymore, right? Because my evidence showed that last time I did this, I got that. So I don't need to continue with the belief. In this case, I'm gonna have to the very end result. I'm gonna have to believe. I won't know it until after I believe it. You know what I'm saying? So, which is fine. A lot of times that keeps things in order. You know, as long as we have something to look forward to, a lot of times we'll do the right thing. As long as we're knowing that we're not getting disregarded for that, and there's some sort of reward, we tend to do it and do the right thing for that anyway. But but if we didn't, let's say we're wrong, we're supposed to go to the bad house, right? What is the purpose? Is the
yeah,
purpose of the threat of the bad house? Is it solely intended to keep you from going there? What is your perspective of that? Because there's different levels of that. And again, you would have to go there to know it. So I'm not expecting that, but I'm just saying, prospectively, it is it just is it just the natural polarity to heaven?
say that last part again.
Is it just a natural polarity to heaven? We're two-dimensional beings. We don't even accept there being a third option, right? So let's not saying you and me particularly, um,
Mhm.
though we are two-dimensional beings, but our perspective is beyond those two dimensions. So I'm not leveling you there, but I'm just saying that we won't know until it's too late to tell somebody anyway. So
Mhm.
the I think it's all primarily designed to have some sort of order, and I think it's kind of gotten my I don't try and do the things that are right, or because I'm even deeming what I'm thinking is right, just despite going off your standard biblical commandments. Those things we would know, but even without the commandments, those are things we would know whether someone was commanding you to do it or not. So I kind of think we're kind of like my dog, right? My just has nothing to do with the ironicness of the spelling, but dogs naturally want to make you happy just by default. They want to please whoever their master is. The, their reward is doing what you feeling the positive vibes coming off of you is what that works for them. So whether you gave them that and you give them a reward for doing a trick and you feel a little prideful for teaching them, he's more so in it originally in it to do it for you, but we trained them to do it for the treat. So now we kind of lose the original intent to do it out of the love for me being happy, and more so for the treat, because he does it for the treat. Now I'm happy that it worked, and it's not as genuine as it was before I trained him with the treat. And that we, I think that we kind of are to try to please our higher consciousness without the treat, without the treat. But we'll use anything for a treat. Knowing the book forwards and backwards in 30 languages. Oh man, that's got to count for something. For me to study all these books and learn all this knowledge, man, that's got to count for something for God, right? I should get a treat for that, other than just doing it because it's just in you to do it. Or I'm a follower of the Ten Commandments, so I don't go to hell or jail or wherever it happens. I just I don't need this. I just by default the things that I do fall under the Ten Commandments. I'm not following them; they're following me. The idea of telling you what to do to be good is based off of someone's idea of what good is. So I think for people that don't have a motive to do it by default, needs instructions on how to do something that's equivalent to that, so that
Yeah,
we can
and I
live
agree.
in a common place. You know what I'm saying? And I think we figured if he doesn't give us the treat, then we're not doing something right.
Well,
So
it's like this.
it's almost like treat based thing. I ain't trying to
No,
get
that's
hurt.
no. I got what you're saying, but see, that's not true. And the reason why that's not true is because if we're talking treat based, right? If I treat somebody with love and respect, and they treat me back with love and respect, that's the reward, right? That's good, right? So wouldn't you expect or want somebody to treat you with love and respect the way you treated them, right? So here's the thing, because we're gonna get into this, right?
When you hold the door open for somebody, that fucks with me. Why do you do you think it's a task or a job, or you think I went out of my way for me to hold the door for somebody that walks by? Oh, thank you very much, sir. It's because no one fucking does it. So it's so rare to feel like you need to give me a thank you treat for doing it. You know what I'm saying? If I hold the door for somebody, it's just so that they don't gotta open it to go through it. It's not because I want to thank you.
I got
But
you.
we're just I think we just got fixed on attaboys and treats to where we can't be genuine anymore. And
Yeah,
it's and if we don't accept the treat or learn how to be able to get the treat, then we're going into the house. And I think it's just
but
kind of
see, everybody wants
stolen.
a good life, though.
I know, and I just think it's just stolen the genuine drive in our heart to do the right thing.
But doesn't everybody want a good life? When people,
No, some people don't give two shits. I was driving down the goddamn street on the freeway doing 60 miles an hour, and a dude came straight out in the middle of the freeway. He looked at me with a shit eating grin on his face for me to smash right through my windshield. He wasn't looking for a treat. No, not everybody after the same thing. However, I just still think that we lost a lot of that. Having so many different do's and don'ts, it's just kind of hard to get anything right.
well,
I,
it's It's like this.
If we were
You
just
want
the thing that we want our neighbor to be, if we would be it, that would be the greatest example in my perspective. Or at least the thing
well,
that you're exposing to them. You know what I'm saying?
no, I got you, but most people when they do something, they want good results. Whether that's working, whether that's just even if it's nothing, you just want a good life. You want to be able to have food, have a place to lay your head out. You know what I'm saying? Enjoy some of the things that you want to enjoy, right? And so overall, it's not about treats or data boys. It's just simply the course of life, right? Because you made a statement earlier on doing right and doing wrong. Well, my question to you is what about the people who never heard of the Bible? What about those people? Does this apply to them? If they've never heard of even the Bible, nothing at all, what does this apply to them? Does God exist to them? Does that make God null and void? What do you think?
No, no, I don't think it makes them not and void, but I also doesn't think it gives them that name or even gives it a him opposed to a her.
Well, I'm just saying if we're talking biblical text, right? And it's like, well, you got to do this and do that to get the treat and the reward. What about people who don't even know the Bible exists? Never heard of it, never heard of any God. Somebody in the Amazon, deep in the Amazon, for instance, who never had contact with the outside world. What about those people?
And but that's a good question because that actually brings up this second to the last question I had was what did your ancestors follow?
What do what?
Your ancestors follow. What biblical practice or what ideology, if I can use that respectfully, did they follow?
Shit, I don't know. I have no
Well,
idea. I have no idea what
right
I
there.
wasn't nowhere around. You know what I'm saying?
Has it ever
Um,
been a concern for you?
no, no, I'm not concerned with that. I'm not concerned with it because it really doesn't matter. The only thing I have control and concern about is what I'm doing right now today. They're not here anymore, so it doesn't concern me. You know. Um, but my main thing is that I'm asking the reason why I brought up that question. Well, what about people who never heard of God? That never heard of the Bible? That's a hard question to deal with for a lot of people, but it's really not that hard because, but I guess maybe who knows, right? So I'm gonna just put it to you like this: there's two, in this case,
It's
laws, right?
conflicting. That's true. That's conflicting because I wouldn't. I don't think it matters. I think they're probably better off. But the problem is, it says that nobody's going to not hear, but you're just saying, what if? But that's not even a. If you're using the Bible, then we're using the Bible. And it
Mm-hmm.
says that nobody's going to know. There ain't going to be no what if. So, so again, if we're using the Bible, then we're using the Bible, and the Bible says there ain't gonna be no what if somebody didn't know, because the Bible says everybody gonna know. I don't give a damn who you are. The Mayans, you gonna know about every the Dogon. I don't give a damn. You got a bone through your nose, dancing and break dancing upside down. All that shit gonna come to a cease at some point, and you're gonna get around and be facing up north and take the bone out your nose and your knee gonna go. So it ain't gonna be no, I don't know. But ideally speaking, if they never did, I think you're only responsible for what you know. And again, once I give you the treat, then I'm losing the genuine drive for you to do well
No,
for
you're not.
me if I'm giving you, I talked to a lot of, I've been in a few Sunday school classes a little bit lately, so to speak. Uh, and one of their primary motives, or it was Bible study, but I called us being funny. But one of their motives is to make sure that you do the right things so you can go to heaven and get all the benefits. And I kind of think that that's cutting the deal. And I don't think that I can cut a deal with my creator. I don't think it's negotiable. I don't even think that we sit there.
Why not?
Well, I'm not saying it isn't. I'm telling you, I just don't.
Well, I'm
Well,
asking you why.
well, because a lot of things when I did give that position to that or that condition, that position, when I needed the most, I was crickets. And then times I just needed to get out of a red ticket, no problem. But then there was times my woman's insides is turning inside out, and I can't come up with every sentence, every prayer, every Bible, everything. Come.
Hello? Did we lose you? I don't know. Seem to still be on. I'm not really sure. Got some crickets for sure now.